requires Jaron Reed to be good. Because they will put them on the inside sometimes. I think truly in pure passing situations, because they think they can just completely obliterate the middle and then just force you to the outside, essentially to an uncomfortable pocket. And then they can make guys like Mike Dana or Turk Warden or Frank Clark do his job and get a sack here or there. I think he was maybe the best value free agent in all the NFL this offseason. I'm not saying Jaron Reed should be ignored.
But he's no better talking about guys.
But it is still frustrating.
About free agents going places. Like Reed hardly gets mentioned. Dude was a stud.
He's a very good player. But all of this, like, it's like, oh, I'm saying, you know, Jeremy's got to be good, so the Chris Jones has to go to the outside, because we want Chris Jones on the outside, because the entire pass rush is on one dude this year.
Well, he became that. He came out of Alabama as a run stuffer. Like, he developed this.
Is there one other player on this team that you think will have double-digit sacks besides Chris Jones this year? Because I don't. I think it is just, and he might have 18 of them. But I don't know that there's another player on this roster that is going to get double-digit sacks this year. Hell, the only guy capable of it might be Frank Clark. I mean, it's been a few years since we saw that version. Like, is there another guy? I mean, I think Dan might have a 7-sack season. That's a huge uptick for you.
Like, 5 or 6 occurred. Sean Barber was there. He was second with Chiefs with 5 sacks back last year.
Well, the Chiefs, when they had the number 3 defense in the entire NFL, the second closest guy had 6.5 sacks. I'm not saying he can't live that way, but that was the year Justin Houston had 22.
I think the manufacturer, as I've said with the nickels, they love blitzing from the nickel position. They love that. Not Badger has more quarterback pressures because he's been in the league than any other defensive back. They find different ways to manufacture. That's the creativity with the defense.
I like that, but I also just want them to that. I like that they're able to create pressure, because then otherwise they might be the 29th team in sacks. Okay? Like, seriously, if they weren't independent, they might
sacks, Cody.
I know, but it hasn't for the Chiefs. They were 19th in sacks last year. They were, what, 2nd or 3rd in pressures?
They don't always ramp up the best. Tackling they have been.
No, they got to get to the quarterback fully, the whole way there more often. I'm glad that they're creative. They don't just give up on the sack approach, and that they started sending L'Jarius Sneed or Tyrann Mathieu, whoever. But they also just have to give more in the front four, which they've got a better possibility of doing. I think Dan is going to take a step forward. Jaron Reed's better than what they had in a third pass rusher last year. If Frank Clark is just the same guy, okay, at least he's 7 sacks, and then I need Chris Jones still to take that huge step.
They're need to say Frank Clark that he's doing the Super Bowl. Like, they don't need that guy.
I can't count on that anymore.
And they don't need that same production.
It hurts because, like, he should get that kind of production based on what he's paid. So he'll be a constant talking point. You'd be like, well, you need more out of Frank Clark because, well, he's paid a lot of money. But I also come to accept that that's not the kind of Frank Clark I'm expecting this year. Jaron Reed, I expect 6 to 8 sacks this season. That's the kind of player I expect him to be. He's on a defensive line.
And he's a contract
with $200 million worth of 2 players. He's in a contract here, and he's around other
for him financially.
Semi-capable, I would say, pass rushers. So I do not think it's a big deal. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk about what one NFL analyst had to say. Speaking of the AFC West, and apparently he has found me on Twitter to go with it. And not that he's just saying it, but he's also come to find me on Twitter, which I guess is common for that family. So we'll talk about that coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes. But basically, you're saying Jaron Reed doesn't get enough credit. I feel like there's a conversation that can make that I do not think that we have had nearly enough. Are we all just cool with the fact that the Chiefs' second corner on this team is a guy who has started 7 NFL games and was available for a 6th-round pick? We're just good with that?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
there's going to be,
because we can't get into this game of looking at every single position group and saying, why aren't they all great, rock solid? You have to have, every team is going to have a position group that you've either decided or it's been decided for you based on circumstances that you're just not going to be great at. That position group is the cornerback one. And even saying that, L'Jarius Sneed might be a top 15 corner in the NFL.
He could be. He's capable of that.
I think if that's the weakest position, you just accept it and move on.
Not only did he stay at the 7th-round pick, too. That's the thing.
Yeah, so he was available for a 6.5.
They said him and a pick, but I'm good. Still could have accepted it down here Baker's in the weeds. He had the worst injury of any of these guys the year before. He's waiting in the weeds. Again, I think they put value in former first-round picks, especially since 18 and 19.
But DeAndre Baker has started twice as many games as Hughes.
Again, injuries were a concern. He did play at the undefeated UCF. He was there. He's great in the return game. I'm just saying,
he is great in the return
what they're doing is, well, like you see with the Royals. You bring a guy in and you coach him up. And they're taking Spags, with his defensive back history, Dave Barrett, Dave Anderson. You get in. So far, we've seen the best out of Mike Hughes.
I know. It just feels like we're all, and look, Nick, I think you're actually in the majority. It's just like people talk about all kinds of things with the Chiefs. They'll bring up, well, Cole Hardman, what do they do now with the Willie Gay injury? Do we trust 3 offensive linemen? Nobody's ever like, hey, has anybody got any questions about just Mike Hughes being the starter? We're good? We're good here? We're just fine with it? I also think another factor in this is that Tyrann Mathieu, we just assume he covers all flaws, right? If Hughes is a problem and they got to have 3 corners on a play, they'll play L'Jarius Sneed, and they'll, like Tyrann Mathieu will get in the mix, right? Or that's the guy they'll shave for. Or maybe it is bigger what you think was Sneed.
You're just talking about their plan versus will it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course they have a plan. Of course Spags is sitting there saying, here's what we're going to do. But even he probably honestly knows this is my weakest group.
I just don't know, like, what are the odds of L'Jarius Sneed? And I think L'Jarius Sneed, I've been on a huge fan from the beginning. I think he has a capability of being a great corner in the NFL. But when you're talking about, like, elite shutdown corners anymore in the NFL, how many really are there? It's got to be less than 5. There's no way you're listing off 5 people I agree with. Like Jalen Ramsey, okay, right? Stephon Gilmore, maybe not even now because of the injury, and he's a year older. But a couple of years ago, he would have fallen, last year he'd have fallen in that camp.
Davian Howard, Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander,
Humphrey.
Probably. Yeah, I don't even think it's Humphrey. I think Humphrey's in the camp of very good.
I think cornerback's a weird position, too, because I feel like you said, there's haves and have-nots.
William Jackson.
And once you get to a certain, like, if we're ranking them 1 through 100, like, once you get to, like, 15, 20, you're saying, this guy's good, but he has his faults. He gets burned every now and then. He gets a big play every now and then. I said that with Marcus Peters. He was a ball hawk. He was a playmaker, but he was susceptible to giving up big plays. But he was still thought of as being one of the top-tier cornerbacks in the league.
Did you see that stat from him the other day? Someone ran the numbers of most interceptions in the NFL from the year 2010.
He was like,
And you're like, and he was fourth on the list with 27. He got drafted in 2015.